Welcome to First Impressions!
A week after I mentioned that Death in Paradise was becoming incredibly predictable, we get one of my favourite Death in Paradise episodes of all time. Series 5, Episode 4. The name is Episode 4. I don't know the name yet. But, hey dudes, ThatDude Sunglasses here. Now firstly, a few updates on my channel. If I just see here quickly, I have not uploaded for... You may hear my thingy here. I've not uploaded for a few days now. No, actually I have. I uploaded 2 days, my second angle of the Ice Bucket Challenge 2 days ago, but I haven't been uploading regularly at all. Which I'm not doing because I'm working very hard on my top 10 best video games of all time. Not video games of all time. Best video games I played in 2015, sorry, which I'd like to do because it's because I just want to get it over and done with. And especially since it's been 20 days now, which means that was 10 days. No. Yeah, 20 days now that's been since the last ThatDude Sunglasses episode. Nearly 21, which means it's nearly 3 weeks. So I want to start getting onto it. Don't want another to keep having constant big gaps between episodes like Super Mario 3D Land video. I think that came out on the 16th of November. The Donkey Kong review didn't come out to the 24th, and that wasn't even a long review. But that was because I was doing things and I was busy, and because I was constantly changing. Because originally I was, I know this isn't to do Death in Paradise, but eventually, about the 1st of December, I was already writing the Mario Kart 7 script, and then I got halfway through and I wasn't really that interested in it, and I didn't really want to make the Mario Kart 7 script anymore. So what I decided to do instead is, well, I decided to review Donkey Kong, and I made that video in about 6 days, which I think is pretty impressive. Anyway, sorry, on to Death in Paradise. So this episode is brilliant. It is not predictable. I will tell you that. It is not predictable for one reason. You do not see the murder until the end of the episode. That means you can only guess, but you can't know exactly who it is like last week's episode. To be honest, you've got the 3 guys, the father guy, whatever, the father person, the Ivan, the doctor guy, and the teacher, and they're the suspects, and you know from there, you know that it's because they are because they're the 3 suspects, and they all have evidence pointing towards them, but that can't solve it. The thing that does end up solving it in the end is the 3D radar scope. And that's the thing is, as well as solving the murder, which the murder of Dwayne's mentor, as well as that, it solves the mystery of a terrifying or spine-chilling cold case about how this guy called Vincent was bullied by the 3 suspects, and then they chucked his hat in the river. And then they told him that he had to get it so his mum wouldn't. So his mum would be wouldn't be very happy. Yeah. So he went down to get it, but then he slipped and died. That is a very, very chilling sort of thing, and that proves don't bully people. You're a dick if you bully people. Sure, you can say criticisms to them, but don't bully them, or say things that aren't true, which everyone does it every once in a while, but still. But yeah, so let's talk about the plot. So, although I just explained a lot of it there, basically Dwayne's mentor what's his name again? I forgot his name. The thing is, no one's updated the information on the wiki page. Let me just have a look. I forgot. I think his name began with S or something. In Paradise, Cedric. Oh, there we go. I just remembered there. I didn't even have to look it up. Right, Cedric. Where his mentor Cedric died of natural causes, they thought. And then there was a text message from the grave, and then in the end, and this is spoilers. You already know it's spoilers. I told you in all three of my other first impressions of Death in Paradise. It's sort of. It's very kind. Oh, I don't know what I was going to say then. But yeah, it's kind of emotional how you see this happen to a personal character, and one of the main characters. But then there's a message from beyond the grave. In the end, as I said, yeah, it was sent from this woman. I can't remember. In the end, it was sent by Cedric's girlfriend. Yeah. From another phone, yeah, using the SIM card, yeah, and that just gave me chills thinking about it. Chills, just thinking about how he said how he was murdered beyond the grave. Not that he was, about how he was murdered, but that he was murdered. So then Dwayne just talks to to Humphrey, and then they go and investigate. But then Dwayne reckons it was a waste of time. But Humphrey gets onto the idea, and the whole crew is eventually investigating. And then that's basically it. But let me tell you about the explaining at the end. The explaining at the end wasn't very detailed, let's say, but it was very informative still, and very interesting, and that was a good thing. Because we don't need, even though I really love the explanations, you don't need really complicated ones every single week on the road. Just have some easy ones that only take a few minutes to explain. That is fine. I do not have any problems with that, unless, like the really long ones, they're not too common. Let's talk about characters. Dwight, and let's talk about characters. We'll talk about character development. Okay. The thing is, Dwayne most definitely has the most development. You can see he's not really laughing or joking. I think he only jokes once, and that's about how the road was steep up to Cedric's girlfriend's place. Yeah, that was the only time he joked, and that brings out a new side in the character. And seeing that he is mentally, he doesn't cry or anything. He doesn't weep or get upset over it. But someone that he's known, and someone that's cared for him since he was 13, that is terrible, having something like that happen to you. And that is simply the reason why he gets the most emotional. And you can see he's scarred in this episode. He's sad, and he thinks it's all a waste of time, but it isn't in the end. And you can see at the end when and this is another thing I'm going to talk about in a minute. I'll talk about more detail in a minute. When the father confesses that he killed her because he killed Cedric because he was going to tell and you find out, I should have mentioned this earlier actually, you found out that she wanted to tell Vincent's mother so she can die in peace and tell her about it. So yeah, but then when you see, and then that, and then you see the smirk, not the smirk, sorry, the emotions of pure disgust and anger on his face about how he's like, about how he says, I did it, and he was kind of proud of it because she was a dying, and then he was like, she was a dying woman anyway, and then Dwayne was pissed off. He didn't do anything to him. He was just really pissed off. Yeah, remember that scene in Spider-Man? Now you have really pissed me off. Yeah, but that you kind of, when you see more about a character and you know that even through their jokative side, they can be very, very emotional, and they can be tormented and really angry about this thing, brings out more about and tells you more about the character than anything else ever could. Humphrey, we got some comedic, he's got some more comedic moments, but Humphrey wasn't really developed that much, apart from, that even though he's good at cooking things, he's not good at actually, he's good at making food, but he's not good at actually cooking it, because you find out, I'll wait for that later for the best scene, but you find out that, and that's kind of a bit interesting to find, and you find out he has more talents, and he's actually good at something, and he's not just stupid and really bad at it, which I really like. We have got Florence. Florence wasn't really developed at all, like always, apart from episode 1 where she was a bit developed. She's still a great character, but she just doesn't get developed enough, and JP wasn't developed really either. But you got to see a more personal side with the Commissioner for once. For all this time, he was just a person who was near the murder, an important figure who was near the murder, or someone who just came in to check on them every once in a while. But the thing is, you can kind of relate to his character about how he's saying how Cedric was such a big impact on the community, and him saying that a cold case, that because they don't have 3D, he's not going to get 3D radarscope technology because it was a cold case, and he spent ages doing it, which proves how much of a nice person he is. If he was 45 years ago, that was, as well, the cold case murder, apparently. If he was there, and he was there, and all of this stuff happened, and he helped to try and find Vincent, but he couldn't find him, which proves more about how his character is, and below his kind of sulky, comedic kind of attitude and how he comes in, he is a very kind and interesting character, and that doesn't really develop him, but it tells you a lot more about him. Let's talk about the guests quickly. I really enjoyed the guests tonight. They were really good, and I thought they had some stunning performances, probably the best of the series. They were believable, and even though you tormented them and you really wanted to hate them for what they did in the end, you kind of felt sorry for them as well, because they didn't mean for it to happen, but it still happened. And I think I just think they were great characters, and they were interesting, and they were shaped and developed really well. And now let's talk about some other things. Let's talk about the whole thing being Dwayne being murdered at someone Dwayne knows. As I said earlier, that kind of elevates it and makes it kind of feel not exactly more important, but a bit more dramatic and a bit more heartbreaking. The thing is, all episode 4s really are the turning points, because let's see, Series 4, Episode 4 was when Camille left. Episode 4 of Series 3, it wasn't that terrible. Well, it wasn't terrible. No, it wasn't terrible at all. But that is a good question. No. what was I going to say? That kind of brought in more. That brought in more of an extra thing, and about possible murders. Series 2, episode 4 is, well, that wasn't really anything, and confessing on series 1. So, what is it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, alright, yeah, sorry. So, as well, we've got, let's talk about, the unpredictableness of this episode. This episode was not predictable in the slightest. There was not one thing that I thought was predictable, and that is fantastic. That is how Death in Paradise should be. Not predictable. And something kind of special as well. But the thing is, because you didn't see the murder, you couldn't guess who it would be. You couldn't guess at all who it could be. Unlike the last episode, where you knew because he couldn't have done it, that he did it. And that I don't know. It really makes just everything a lot better. But yeah, so I think it was an ingenious way that they actually killed him, though. That the father killed him by pressing the pillow down in his face. Yeah, and that's and then that wouldn't show any blood or anything, and that's it. That was interesting. So, but yeah, also, so we couldn't, going back to the predictableness. Yeah, you couldn't predict it because you didn't see the murder until the very end, which means it could have been any of these guys. And because they all equally had the same amount of evidence why they would do it, then that makes it could have been any of them. But in the end, they were all working together to protect the secret of how they bullied Vincent and how he died. I didn't predict the killer to actually confess, although I kind of guessed that he probably, and yeah, I didn't know. Actually, I didn't think he would confess. The reason I didn't think he would confess is for the simple reason that he was trying to get them out, get Florence and Humphrey out when they were trying to find out more information about him and stuff, and that would make you think, oh, well, he's not going to confess. He's not going to confess till he dies, or whatever, or his last words, I killed blooming Cedric. And that's good. That happens for once. He confesses and he tells you the side of the story. It's not Humphrey, it is him. It's him, and that is interesting. That is really interesting. I like the fact there were only 3 suspects. Well, at the start there was 4, but then they eliminated her out immediately because it would have actually been probably impossible for the girlfriend to have done it. No, it wasn't impossible, but they just ruled her out after a while. But I kind of think it's good having 3 suspects that are all similar together, who all know each other personally, and don't have anything against each other really, all being the suspects. It's interesting, and it makes for a very compelling narrative. So let's talk about the last thing. Best moment. The best moment was by far the bit with the shepherd's pie, where they dug into it and it was stone cold, and he'd been in there for 2 hours and it hadn't cooked at all. That was really funny, actually. And that is what Death in Paradise is. It's just funny. So this episode, hopefully next week's episode will be good, because I'm actually going to talk about the next time trailers now as the actual last thing. Next time trailer is the best next time trailer I've seen in this season. I thought I was going to cry because I was so excited for it. I usually get a bit more disappointed, But the thing is, the fact that he's investigating there in the night, and Humphrey gets pushed down the stairs. I really want to see what happens there, and that looked like a really awesome next time trailer. So anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. Sorry for the upload schedule and not being very good. It will be back to normal in the next week or so when the top 10 best video games I played of 2015 is out. So anyway, thanks very much for watching, and peace the hell out.
You've been watching First Impressions.